Knuckleheads, this Saturday live from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going down in boxing's light heavyweight division. We've got the highly anticipated matchup between David the Mexican Monster Benavidez and David Morrell. It's the battle of the Davids, and they're not only similar in name, they're pretty similar in stature, and I think they're pretty similar in skill, and I think this fight is going to be a hellacious fight. If you ask me, that's what I'm predicting in this fight, but I wanted to give you guys my prediction, not just on the fight, but on the winner of this fight, right? So let's start it out by going through some numbers, right? First and foremost, David Benavidez, 6 feet and 1/2 inch tall. That's just a 1/2 inch shorter than the 6'1" David Morrell, so not a big difference there. Also, Morrell has got a 2.5 inch reach advantage with a 77 inch wingspan versus David Benavidez's 74.5 inch wingspan. I think if there's any sort of physical number or metric that will slightly make a difference, that's the one. I think David Morrell's going to have a good advantage, ever so slight, but a good advantage as far as reach goes. Now, the other thing that I like about David Morrell in this fight is I like the footwork. You know, he is a Cuban fighter. They've always been known to really emphasize their footwork. He's got a deep amateur pedigree with 130 wins and 5 losses versus David Benavidez's pedigree, which only consists of 15 wins and nothing more. So I do like the reach advantage. I do like the footwork of David Morrell. And the other thing when you're comparing them, my goodness, the skull of David Morrell versus David Benavidez, I mean, it's just a different build. He seems like a bigger, thicker guy than David Benavidez. That said, I love David Benavidez's style. I think he fights correctly, at least in my opinion, what's correct in boxing. I love how he fights off the back hip. A lot of people think his feet are bad. I don't think his feet are bad at all. I think he's very efficient, and I think if his feet were that bad, people would have exposed him by now, and they just haven't been able to. Now, he doesn't, again, as we mentioned, have the amateur pedigree that David Morrell has, but as far as the professional pedigree, he's got way more. He's got 29 fights, with 24 of those fights coming by way of knockout, versus Morrell, who just has 11 fights and only 9 of them coming by way of knockout. The other thing I'll say is, even though he's got the limited amateur pedigree with just 15 fights versus Morrell's 135, this kid grew up in the sport. Let's not forget, he's got an older brother that was also a very capable fighter. And this kid, you know, you watch these old YouTube videos where he's boxing and sparring against incredibly high-level competition from, you know, when he was like 15, 16 years old. Guys we're very familiar with as boxing fans. And so I just like the way he's gone about his career. It's almost like it's been more dedicated towards the pro game. His style was developed for the pro game. So this is a very, very interesting fight. The other thing I'll say about this fight is, you know, based on the eye test, right, the skills and the power and the speed that I've seen from both of these guys, the durability, everything else, you know, the opponents they've had, I feel like this is going to be a very close fight potentially. I feel like this fight is going to be the toughest fight for either guy, but I think it's going to be by far the toughest fight for Morrell, who I think his toughest opponent has been Kalajic, which is his last opponent, and Kalajic was a guy that he couldn't even get out of there, right? He won that fight, did Morrell, by unanimous decision. And so that is why, Knuckleheads, I'm leaning ever so slightly to this fight being in favor of David Benavidez. If I've got to make a prediction on this fight, because I think both of these guys are so tough and have so much experience, I would say this fight probably ends in a unanimous decision win for David Benavidez, right? Because I just think his style is better suited for the pro game, and I like his boxing style a little bit better. I think he's just a touch better. Now, that's not to say that Morrell can't win this fight. I would say right now in my mind, I have this fight 55-45 for David Benavidez, but I just like the way he puts his punches together. I like how he fights off the back hip. I like that he's very efficient, and I think this is going to be a grueling, rough fight. And I think Morrell's going to keep it close probably through round 8 or 9, but then start to fall apart the way most people who keep it close with David Benavidez do. I think he breaks him down a little bit at the end and comes away with the unanimous decision win. So, knuckleheads, tell me what you think is going to happen in this fight in the comment section below. After you do that, like this video, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, and feel free to uppercut that join button for just $9.99 a month. You help me continue to build this channel, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Help me escape the rat race. Also, get your Fighters Rep merch in the links below, and join us for the podcast, which goes live every Tuesday. It's going to be every Tuesday or Monday. This week it's going to be Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Okay, so join us for that. And don't forget, we go live after all the big fights. So we're going to be going live Saturday after the Benavidez Morrell fight. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about this fight. I think this is a very exciting fight for the future of the light heavyweight division. And I look forward to going back and forth with you guys on this one.